There is a singular moment every collector knows. The realization that the card in your hand isn't just cardboard. It is power. I first felt this with Yu-Gi-Oh!, watching characters dominate on screen while I held the very same blue eyes white dragon they commanded. It was a tangible connection to a fantasy world, but it taught me a very real lesson about markets. That lesson wasn't just about the heart of the cards. It was about ownership, leverage, and who truly controls the price. I grew up a massive fan of Yu-Gi-Oh!, and it was the first TCG that truly resonated with me beyond simple gameplay. The genius of the franchise was the seamless cohesiveness between the anime series and the physical card releases. It was a mind-blowing concept to a young collector. I could own the exact assets that the titans of the show were using to duel. While the complex mechanics eventually pushed me toward other games, that feeling of holding a piece of the show's lore never left me. That initial connection to ownership paved the way for a business-focused mindset, largely inspired by one character, Seto Kaiba. For the uninitiated, Kaiba was the ruthless, brilliant rival of the protagonist, a CEO who viewed cards not as toys, but as assets of domination. Despite being a fictional character, Kaiba instilled core concepts of ambition and strategy that are surprisingly applicable to real-life economics. He didn't just play the game, he sought to control the infrastructure around it. One of my clearest recollections is a flashback sequence detailing Kaiba's hostile takeover of Kaiba Corp from his adoptive father, Gozaburo. The company was originally a weapons manufacturer, but Sato had a different vision. When his father refused to pivot, Sato didn't throw a tantrum. He engineered a coup. He approached the Big Five, the company's board, and convinced them that under his leadership, they would receive the respect and power Gozaburo denied them. The mechanics of this takeover were pure mathematics. Sato and the Big Five secured 49% of the company, matching Gozaburo's 49%. The remaining 2% belonged to Sato's younger brother, Mokuba. In a final, tense confrontation, Gozaburo attempted to use Mokuba to crush Sato, believing the boy was loyal to him. But Sato had planned a step ahead, banking on his brother's shared dream of a gaming empire. Mokuba switched sides, handing Sato his 2%. With 51% ownership, Sato took full control. This anime storyline illustrates a concept that is alive and well in the modern TCG market: leverage. Kaiba used his majority ownership to force the direction of the company, just as modern investors use ownership to dictate market value. Unlike stocks or crypto, TCGs are tangible assets. We know we own them because we can feel them, slab them, and store them. However, when you control a significant portion of the available supply, you are no longer just a collector. You are a market maker. We are seeing this play out in real time with aggressive movements in the Pokemon and One Piece markets. It started with massive buyouts in the Pokemon space, where undervalued sets and singles were suddenly swept off the market. Whether driven by artificial buying, genuine investor recognition, or FOMO, the result is the same: consolidation of ownership. When a single entity or group holds a large percentage of a card's population, they effectively hold the 51% leverage. This leverage is even more potent in the One Piece TCG. Compared to the massive print runs of modern Pokemon, One Piece product is scarce. When the open market quantity is low, the power of leverage magnifies. If there are only 10 copies of a high-value card on TCG Player, it takes very little capital to sweep the board and reset the price floor. Even with 1,000 copies, big money can purchase half the available market with a single click, instantly shifting the supply-demand curve. Thanks to modern sales data, we can see these moves happening, but we often can't stop them. Those who have the capital and the desire can gain effective ownership of a specific asset class. Once they hold the cards, they set the price. If they decide a card is now worth double, and they control the majority of the supply, the market is forced to either pay the premium or go without. The buyer with the most cards holds the pen that writes the price tag. Critics often call these artificial buyouts, but in the world of trading cards, perception becomes reality. If the market adopts the new price, If there are willing buyers and sellers at that new tier, then the price is no longer artificial. It is the new standard. Just as Kaiba's 51% stake made him the undeniable boss of Kaiba Corp, holding the majority of a card's supply makes you the boss of its market value. Watch the supply counts, track the buyouts, and understand who holds the leverage before you make your next move.